Hey guys, it's Marcelo Souza here, back yet again for another review of Star Trek, the original series, Season 1, Episode 3, entitled Where No Man Has Gone Before. In this episode, Captain Kirk and his crew discover a black box from a spaceship that has been missing for over 2 centuries. In an effort to get out of the galaxy or get out of the area that they are currently in, they run into this sort of pinkish kind of, or purplish, they run into this purplish kind of barrier. And once they enter the barrier, their equipment shorts out and their ability to activate the warp drive completely is shot. The thing that I liked about this episode is I loved the philosophical conversations that Captain Kirk and his crew had about ESP when the Enterprise goes through the barrier. Their helmsman gets affected, and at first he's just knocked out cold. But when Captain Kirk goes to check on him, it turns out that his eyes glow, and as the episode goes on, we find out that Gary Mitchell has a unique frequency with ESP. Essentially, he is more susceptible to being affected by ESP. In this episode, they introduced a psychologist. I really like in this episode that the Enterprise had a woman of power in one of the key positions on the ship. I really appreciate that. Now, with that being said, I didn't like how she just sort of started to swoon over Gary Mitchell after he got more paranoid about how insignificant Captain Kirk and his crew slowly became to him as he gained much more power. I thought that it would have been way more interesting to see her fight with her morality and to see her fight for her love for Gary Mitchell and fight with her sense of honor for Starfleet. I thought that that would have been more interesting. Gary Mitchell studied under Captain Kirk, from what I understand, and I really love that while Spock was trying to make the entire crew, or at least the senior staff, realize that their friend was no longer on the ship and this individual that was on the ship is harmful to them. I love the fact that Kirk really tried to make Spock see the humanity in Gary, even if he thought deep down there was no humanity left. I really appreciated that angle. But on the other hand, I really like what Spock said in this episode. He didn't really say this, but he sort of implied it. He said that he basically said, I'm the only rational person on your senior staff right now. And the reason why I can only be the rational one is because I don't think with my emotions. I have no emotions. So that's why I can make this decision and I can advise you what to do. And if you don't do it, the same thing that happened to this other ship where this beacon came from, or aka this black box came from, is going to happen to us. So you need to put your feelings aside and make the decision not based on your previous memories of your friend who is obviously gone, but the threat against your ship right now. The Enterprise crew end up trying to maroon Gary on a lifeless planet with nothing but machines. But as often is the case in Star Trek, he breaks away, and guess what? The only person that can deal with him is Captain Kirk. Now, I like that, but as you guys know, I am a Next Generation guy, and I would have preferred I mean, granted, this is not what Kirk does. I would have preferred him to have more sit downs with his senior crew and talk it out before he actually did something impulsive like the cowboy that Kirk is. I'm not all about the cowboy that Kirk is. You guys will learn that as we go along here in the reviews. I'm more of a Picard kind of guy. That would be my one of my negatives. My other negative is that I wish that the psychiatrist character that falls in love with Gary could have gotten more character development, in that I wish she would have struggled with her love for Gary and her duty to Starfleet. I thought that would have been a little bit better. I really didn't like the use of one particular character on the bridge when Captain Kirk was making the opening ship announcements at the beginning of the episode. I believe her character was named Smith. I don't know if she was supposed to be Captain Kirk new yeoman, or I don't know if Janice wasn't available or she was on break or whatever, but I thought that character was completely useless. I would have loved a more deeper and a more introspective investigation as to what the barrier was that the Enterprise ran through. Unlike the last episode that I reviewed, I thought that this episode was almost the best that the original series had to offer. So with that being said, my grade for this episode would be a B minus. All right, guys, before I go, I would like to remind you that this series is a part of a collaboration with two other YouTube channels. The first YouTube channel is Text Trek. An hour after this video goes live, I encourage you to go over to Text Trek to get a live YouTube show going over the latest and greatest episode of Star Trek for that particular week. But after that, I would also encourage you to go and check out a YouTube channel by the name of Starfleet Boy After Dark. On that show, it's a weekly live stream. It's sort of like a fly on the wall, sort of bartender conversation, talking about the latest and greatest in geek culture. If you want some geeky goodness leading you into your weekend, I would strongly recommend that you go check out Text Trek and Starfleet Boy After Dark. But thank you so much for watching this video, and until next time, as always, I'll see you when I see you.
So much happened here, and so much is about to.